Well, nearly here. This is Guy's pad, or Guy's area. It's quite nice actually. Around here somewhere. Size of these houses. Tell you what, there's money in trading. Guy,
Graham,
thanks for inviting me to your home.
thank you for coming. You come all the way from like the north.
No, I come from London. So,
London, no, I'm kidding. That's north for me.
That's north for you. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you invite me here today?
Well, one, we've known each other for many years. You've actually used my systems and actually written some pretty nice reviews. You actually had some success with it as well in days gone by. And we've got this whole new wave of technology coming out. We are literally having a bit of a celebration because we're literally about to go live with American money managers, professional money managers who've been using our systems for themselves and informally for their own clients. But now one of our OVI systems is going to be running money for real professionals managing real money for their clients. And that's a big step. It's something that we've been working on for many years, and still the work will have to go on. It's not going to be like done, dusted. The research must continue to evolve, but the first baseline model is going out there in January, and that's a big thing. And there's really no one who caters to home-based traders, who, by the way, have made it all happen. Without them, I couldn't have done it because they basically fund the R&D. And there's no one out there using anything like the kind of standards that we do, which is catering to the professional market, institutional market, family office market. No one doing that for home-based traders. And that is part of what's going to happen. The quid pro quo, if you like, is that this research that we've done for the professionals is effectively being funded by home-based traders and myself. Well, we're now producing a model that will fit the home-based trader taste and capability as well. So it's all happening.
So the institutional traders are going to be using your strategy.
Right. Yeah, so if you look at one kernel of intellectual property, if you like, my OVI, options volatility indicator, is spawning several different models for several different tastes and several different sizes. Don't forget, if you're trading with institutional stuff, you have far less flexibility. You've got to deal with far greater size of portfolios. So one kernel of IP can satisfy many different models, but you've got to obviously create the models to satisfy the particular audiences. So they're not mutually exclusive. They can all run in tandem. They'll be doing slightly different things, but the basic premise that we're looking at, leveraged money that's being put at risk by big players, That's the essence of it all. But it's spawning lots of different
But
models.
that's what the OVI has been about all along, hasn't it?
It's always been about that. There's a logic to it. That's what makes it different from everything else. I mean, you've got other people looking at moving averages this, and got stochastics that, and MACD this, and planetary activity that, and
So sorry to interrupt, but for somebody who's not aware of you and what the OVI is, could you just give me a really quick breakdown of what actually is the OVI? Why does it work?
Right. So look, with any way of testing a sort of hypothesis, a market, or a trading method, a betting method, it all comes down to what's the logic behind it. So if you were to say, okay, I've got this method that counts how many waves there are in the ocean, and that has some weird connection to what happens to the moon and the gravitational pull on the Earth, and then that somehow affects people's moods and then goes to what goes on to the markets. That's quite a implausible piece of logic.
Well, it's bullshit, isn't it? Let's face it.
Correct. But there's many levels of BS, right? So there's just straightforward moving averages, or I mean, one of the ones that really gets me, because I spent many years researching this and wasting my time on it, is Fibonacci Gann Elliott. Elliott wave, Fibonacci Gann. It's magical numbers. It's a variant of the moon cycles, and sometimes people connect them both. But where's the logic? Some magical numbers of petals of flowers. Well, they don't even apply to all the petals of all the flowers. So what you're doing then is you're indulging in confirmation bias. And now you and I have spoken about confirmation bias before. And that's basically like, I mean, so for example, your football team performs a foul, and it's like, oh, that's all right. But the other team does the same foul on your team. It's like, oh, it's terrible. That's confirmation bias. Lots of religion is confirmation bias. And so many things, trading, so much of it in terms of what you see out there is expressions of confirmation bias. So going back to what
doesn't that kind of make it work in a way? For a Fibonacci pattern and Elliott wave, you've got people trading off of those, and that in itself would perhaps...
So you're saying it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Is it? I'm asking you.
Well, okay. Well, then again, every answer that you should be demanding from me or anyone else is logic. So in the stock market, you realise that on a daily basis there is like hundreds of billions of dollars being traded every day. I mean, even in an earnings cycle, there's more than $1 trillion worth of price movement. How much of that do you really think is being attributed to some Fibonacci algorithm? And by the way, when it comes to Fibonacci, there's so many different flavors.
Exactly.
Is it the 618? Is it the 382? Is it the 772? This whatever it is. There's so many different flavors of it that they all dilute each other anyway. So even if you were to say, well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and make that, it's not, because it's forming the tiniest fraction of trading volume. And guess what? The professionals and institutions don't use it.
No.
So guess what? No good. So let's go back to the logic that we do. We're looking at leverage. So leverage in the options market. So what we're looking to say is there's only two reasons for people to trade options, truly. I mean, it goes down to two things. One is to hedge a position, to protect a position, or create a complex position. Who's doing that? The professionals typically. And the other one is to take advantage of leverage, as in to build a position. Now, if we can do a decent job of isolating away the hedging bit, because that's not really that powerful, and we can isolate what is the position building, these are people who say, I don't want a 1-for-1 return, I want a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for 1 return. I'm prepared to take that risk. I want to follow those people, because by and large, in big volumes, they're going to be the big guys again. And not only that, they're going to know what they're doing. Guess why? Because they've spent the money on the research. So I'm looking at that activity. So when you actually ask the question, is this logical? The answer is yes, it is. It's logical. You're looking for leveraged position building in usually large stocks, S&P 500 type stocks. Passes the smell test. Now the question is, does it actually work? Well, that's when you have to do all the empirical and quantitative analysis to say, does it actually work? And fortunately for us, it does. It does on so many levels, and we've got something. Now, of course, does it mean that you're going to win every time? No, because it's not a 100% system. But is it 6, 7 out of 10 system? Absolutely. Sometimes even 8s. And some people have reported. I mean, we had one guy in Chicago doing 29 winning trades in a row. Now, what he was doing was he was combining a sort of an earnings kind of filter that he had or somewhere we found, and then looking through each chart, hundreds of them from an OVI perspective. Now, one of the reasons why you and I are talking is because that's another big issue for traders. So one of the big issues that I faced as a trader is that sometimes I will do some work and I will feel compelled to make a trade because of the work I've put in. Now that's bad because sometimes you're just not going to find the right trade on a particular day, and in those days don't make the trade. But at least A, have the knowledge of don't make the trade, but 2, don't have wasted time to make you feel that you're owed something back from the markets by making a trade. So one of the things that I've done to counter that problem that I and many other people may have faced, and by the way, we're not talking about that much time anyway, is the technology. So now one of the big improvements coming is not just the automated stuff that we're doing, but it's actually the trade finder stuff. So the way you filter for stocks. So instead of filtering now for the entire market or the S&P 500, you can now focus your entire filter from our perspective, from that OVI perspective, the leverage perspective, the cheaters. That's often what we're finding is blatant cheating. Come on to that later. But now you can say, right, this watch list of stocks that do X and Y, I only want to focus on them. And guess what? By doing that, I've taken 400 stocks in one click down to 15 or 20. So your workload has now gone down from 2 hours to about 2 minutes. Now you don't feel obligated to make a trade if you don't think it's right. You can say, wait for a better time. So I haven't invested all that time. So we've taken all that pain away. And it's very interesting because I was giving this presentation literally this last weekend and showing people that this is what's happening. And this is the great benefit of this, is that I now don't feel obliged to make a trade for the sake of it because I think, I put in 2 hours of work. And normally we don't, by the way, we don't put in 2 hours of work. It's very quick, our systems, but you've got to make them quicker. And this fella actually tweeted me, it's actually available on Twitter, you can find it. He just says, your last 5 recordings have just spoken as if they spoke to me individually, because it's exactly what I've been doing. I've been placing a trade because I felt that I'd done enough work to place a trade, and that's not the way it works. It's all about quality, not quantity. So does that make sense? It does.
So if somebody is interested in getting involved in what you do, what's the next step?
Well, it's the next best step. There's several steps you could take, but the best step is, what's the date? Says the 10th of October? 11th of November. I'm doing a workshop on the 30th of November. So 30th. And with that workshop comes all my Flag Trader software, all the new Flag Trader software, plus a few very cheeky bonuses that we've lumped in this year, including my new wave of automated stuff as well. And the way that people use the automated stuff is either they follow it blindly, which is fine, but I would rather look at it and say, oh, that looks like a nice one, I'll look at that one. I'd use it as another selection criteria, but this one, it's 1 click less or 2 clicks less. So you can either do 1 or 2 clicks or half a click kind of thing, and that's really cool. So, but it's a great event, and this is the amazing thing. I'll show you actually on my iPad. We've got about a 70% repeat attendance rate to every workshop I ever do. Now, that says 2 things. It says, 1, lots of people come back. Also says we probably don't get enough new people coming through, which is one of the reasons why we're talking, right? Because people need to know about this, and we're not a marketing company. We are a nerdy group of people. We'd like to be better at marketing. We want to be better at marketing. It's an important thing. It's not a crime to do that, but we haven't started off that way. We started off as a research house, and that's why we're in the professional market. But I think it's a good thing that we do talk to more people. And
for sure. I just wanted to go back to the beginning, really. What actually got you started in the beginning?
Well, there's a simple answer and a complicated answer.
Give me the simple answer.
The simple answer is I was just interested in it. I was interested in the market, so I could see that money could be made in the markets. Now, when I started, it was like early 90s. 1992, when I was 21, I made my first trade in Wembley PLC. So Wembley PLC, I mean, think about it. I'm 21 years old. I've been interested. I've been looking at the markets. I've been reading all this stuff about it. And I was already doing a property degree. I was already in the property world at that point. I was real estate. I actually became a qualified surveyor. But I was always interested in finance because you always heard that property people weren't that good at finance, and I think it was a very important thing to be financially literate. And I saw Wembley PLC owned the stadium and the arena at the time. I go, well, that's always going to be full. They've always got games. What could go wrong? Yeah. So I just blindly invested in that. And it didn't make any money, but it wasn't a complete disaster either. It wasn't like, oh God, I lost everything. It wasn't like that. But I did waste about 9 months of investment time in it. And what I learned from that, and it wasn't necessarily at the time that I learned it. I learned it sort of years later, because of other experiences as well, is the big lesson that very few people ever learn, and that is that opinions are very dangerous for your trading account. And most people have opinions, whether those opinions are based on political allegiances, economic kind of confirmation bias, conspiracy theories, or just that they like the colours of the winner of the Grand National type of thing. Yeah. There's all that stuff going on, but an opinion is very dangerous to any form of investment if you want to do it consistently over many years, because what it's telling you, it's getting your emotions and confirmation bias in the way of actually a good decision. So that was, and I always went back to that one because I thought I just traded that on an opinion. It's a stadium. It's got the FA Cup final in it. You know. Yeah. Right. That was it.
Going back to the workshop, a lot of my readers are experienced traders, but I've also got readers who might be new to it.
Yeah.
What sort of reader do we want to go?
Both, because I've had people start from scratch. I mean, they typically don't find... People who find us are usually people who have been in the game for a little while and they've just been abjectly failed by the industry. And then they found us, they go, do you know, this smells different, this has a whiff of authenticity about it, I'm willing to give it a go. And then they stay with us for years and years and years. Many of them becoming my friends. They come here, we go and see them. We actually gone as a family, my wife and my little boy. We've actually gone to see something, no other reason that they lived in a nice place, as in a nice city, like Amsterdam. We went to see them, spend a weekend with them. So I'm in this peculiar position where people make money with my stuff, and then we make friends with them, and then they become lifelong friends.
Yeah, for sure.
And they help. I mean, the feedback we get helps me to develop and improve the stuff, because you can never stop. And so for your newbies, I'd say, look guys, we can stop you from going down a very dangerous path and going around in circles for years, because we've got something that's simple and works and is based on a logical premise that has been tested to the nines, continues to be tested, continues to be proven, and continues to be improved. And for your experienced people, is that my guess is that with most of them, they are not being served particularly well, and therefore it's time now to try something that is got logic behind it, got professionals behind it, professional researchers and professional clients behind it, and you know, just do the research on me, and you'll find out that what you need to know. How
consistent is your strategy? Because I know a lot of people, they'll trade and they'll have like 2 or 3 good months, 4 or 5 bad months, another 2 or 3 good months. Is yours similar, or do you have more?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the point is that you need a method to know when to back off a bit. Okay, so our method has various parameters and indicators that say market's not looking so good. Now, what will happen is you'll specialize in a particular method. It's pretty easy to specialize, and it's not rocket science to do that. The rocket science is happening behind the scenes, but you'll learn how to interpret a signal and in a very simple way, but what that signal's giving you is a heck of a lot of juice in what's going on in the markets, in sentiment in the markets, reliability of the markets, you know, volatility, those kind of things that will upset your trades or make life easy. So the premise is, do you want to go over that lake or that little sea, you know, Mediterranean Sea if you like, when it's nice and calm, or do you want to go over when it's choppy? Now, the analogy was when we were in Sardinia for the summer, we couldn't go to Corsica one day because it was just too choppy. Yeah. You want to go over when it's smooth, and what we do will help you understand when it's smooth. So that's where you get the consistency. That's how someone gets 29 winning trades in a row. Yeah. But that's also why someone like, you know, Chloe in Malaysia, who's been with us for a couple of years and quadrupled her trading account in that time, she just knows now through the training just how to back off. To say, you know what, don't fancy this market, it's not easy.
She quadrupled her account in how long?
It was in about just over a year. Yeah, quadrupled. And she's not always at it.
Yeah.
Because she really... What happened was she came to an event like this with me, and then part of the event is you also get a one-to-one with me or one of my top trading coaches. Hers happened to be with me. So she got an hour with me as well. And in that, she's answered a survey, so we know what's going on in her life, we know what's going on, not the private stuff, but we know how she approaches trading, what she's done. And I could see pretty quickly that Chloe was a very bright girl, but she had no routine and she had no discipline. That's, by the way, 90% of people. Yeah. But the crucial thing with her, she listened. She really, really cottoned on to the fact that she was just firing arrows at everything. What she learned from that is when to interpret a market that wasn't behaving itself. And so she just backed off. She'll back off for weeks at a time. No problem. Because she's not missing much. She'll keep an eye on things. And with our tools, literally, you can keep an eye on things for literally a few minutes in a day. Okay. That's how quick it is to go, okay, good, okay, I'll sit this one out. And she did that. And that's how she quadrupled her account. And if she found that things were a bit choppy, back off, observe. You can still learn while observing. And then she sees things going well again. Also, she's listening to my commentaries. I'm giving commentaries on a regular basis. So literally, it was just over 2 weeks ago, I said, August onwards was quite a choppy market. And because we do what we do, because it's simple, because we're only looking at a couple of things, albeit they're proprietary to us, we can see very quickly whether the markets are behaving or not. And so we say, okay, and then about just before earnings this way, guys, look at these pie charts on my dashboard, which you have access to as well. And I go, look, things are changing. This is going to be a good earnings season. Time to get busy. Got busy, and guess what? Market's at new highs, and it's been nice and smooth, and everyone's.
So how much time do people spend looking at the screen?
Well, they don't have to spend very much. It can be as little as 10-15 minutes on a daily basis. Not even at the same time of day. You can be and you can do it on a mobile device. I mean, literally, as we speak, and in the next days, we're mobile optimizing all the applications. Oh, okay. So now you can go online on your smartphone or your tablet, and it's becoming more and more mobile. So all of our websites are now mobile optimized, but then the applications within them, proprietary to us, are becoming mobile optimized as well. And so now, for me, that's perfect, because look, I'm an old man with a young son, right? So, and with another one potentially on the way. Yeah. So time for me is a really interesting. I need, if I can pinch a bit of time here and pinch a bit there. And the other thing is, I do a lot of work in my, when Monty wakes up really early now, and and a lie-in for us is now 6:30, right? And that's like not like you, and you can lie in now till 11 o'clock. Okay, I'll have to wait till I'm 70 for that to happen again. But the point is that there is times, in the old days, I would have to bring a laptop up to bed, right? Which is fine, not so bad. I mean, when you look at that and juxtaposed against 100 years of whatever. But now I can just bring this. Yeah. I can bring my tab or the phone. Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, not only that, but being able now to focus on a particular watch list and say, zap my filters into that, I now don't have to look at all those charts. I can just say, I'm only interested in these filters, push one button, and I'm done in minutes. So how much time? Not much.
Are you actually trading options in this? Or?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah. So I trade stocks and so I did a what's called a straddle. This is not in my November event. Yeah. That's in my April Miami event. By the way, you've got to go to that, by the way. That is fun. Oh, people love that because it's party right on the beach.
I've not been to Miami. So.
Oh, God. You?
I know.
You'd never come back. That'll be the difficulty. But anyway, what we do in April. So everyone's fed up with winter in April. Yeah. It's a small group, and it's very intimate. On the Sunday, I end up just doing a whole big dinner. Like the broccoli style in the James Bond films. I do the whole dinner for everyone on that, and everyone's they're exhausted because I've worked really hard. But everyone's having fun and elated. Yeah. Some people have already made money by then. We've got professional people going to that one as well. It's really lovely. It's so much fun. It's right on the beach. Great stuff.
So in the November workshop that we've got it's going to be
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
What are you going to be covering in there?
Stocks.
Okay.
So for anyone, if you're a beginner, perfect. And just do the homework and give yourself a bit of time. But there's not much to learn because we don't try and cover everything. We only cover what we cover because what we've covered is what we test. And what we test is based on logic. And so an awful lot of stuff we can throw out. Now, having all that other knowledge and sort of periphery stuff is actually quite useful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what we're going to be trading off. I mean, when you think about what we use, we're using a fraction of my overall knowledge in trading, because I know that a lot of stuff I can discard because it doesn't work. It's noise. That's what everyone else is doing.
Mm.
But we're doing stuff that's based on real, tangible logic that, guess what, actually happens to test well, using proper testing parameters, as we talked about in there. Proper testing parameters, not some nonsense. And that's what you're up against in trading. But with us, we just condense it, and that's why people come back all the time. And we're never stopping improving, because fundamentally, here's the big difference. Another big difference is that I'm the one who uses my stuff. It's built for me. And what you're doing is you're just using the stuff that I've optimized for myself. Because I don't want to be sat there behind a screen all the time. And I do want to get to the point. I only want to trade what works. I want to do it quite quickly. So that's what you're onto. So effectively, I am a professional. I'm now serving a professional market, but I don't want to be tied to my screens in there.
No,
that's my research den, really. I want to do as much as I can from that thing.
I hear you've got a trading partner.
I do.
And he's called Zippy.
He's like my Bond cat. Instead of the black cat, we've got the orange sausage. he has actually made appearances in my webinars. Yeah, because he'll knock on the door, and I'll have to go and get him. And well, my members love to see him, and then Monty, my son, has already been in there as well. So it's well, that's the thing when you work from home.
Exactly.
But it is so nice. I have an office as well, but as you see, my rig in there it takes up quite a lot of room.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, what it is, it's research. You see, that's what you need to have a proper research room. I need the screens. There's a heck of a lot going on. The servers are full till you actually saw my server room. And that's just one, because there's also a commercial one as well. And we're doing some pretty big stuff in there. When you think about the data that the OVI is using, it's currently running at about 15 billion rows. There's a lot to chomp through there, and it's adding to that every day.
So, this is your den. I like it.
This is where it's where it all happens. So I give webinars from there, because obviously the lights and there's a little camera there on there, and all these desks go up and down.
And what's that?
That's if I make a bad trade. No, that's a massage chair. Well, you notice I'm standing up, right? So here I'm standing up.
Yeah, I like it.
So this is, I had a bad back and it was from sitting down, so I don't have a chair in here now. But but I don't actually need that because I fixed my back, which is great. Piriformis muscle, everybody. It's the secret to lower back problems. Anyway.
What's going on up here then?
Right, so much. Okay, so where do we start? Okay, so this is an OVI chart. So this is another type of chart. And this here is an OVI chart. And what I sometimes do is I sometimes export a list from here into there. That's a function we're about to have happen, literally in the next couple of days. And that's going to literally take work time down from, say for me, 2 hours down to 2 minutes.
Wow.
Which is enormous. I mean, I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to that. But if you look at this, I'll just show you a couple of just trades. So this is a list that I produced for everyone this weekend. And what I'm looking at, you see that little bell there? That's earnings. And it's a big time for us. And do you see the stock going up there?
Yeah.
Then going across, and then going up. Well, that is one of our key signals at earnings. You see that there?
Yeah.
That's the OVI. No one else has that in the world. And this is what shows us that the leverage players are in. And particularly after earnings, this is golden because I've gone up. That means that people are interested. It's gone sideways. Good, I've got a chance now to get in with very low risk, and on the next bar it rises, I'm in, and guess what? I've got all that movement there from 122 to 130, and I'm still in. Very, very easy. Now I'll show you one that's sort of just percolating at the moment and looking quite nice, just percolating. And I'm just showing people this. Is this one, Heinz. And this is very interesting too. Okay, leverage people are interested. They got interested before earnings, it popped up at earnings, so did JP Morgan. So the cheaters in the market probably did very well. But after earnings, there's still a big opportunity. Because here, in fact, I'll give you a stat. You want to hear a stat?
Cool.
So in the 4 days surrounding earnings, stocks will move on average by 16.7%, roughly. And in the 2 months after earnings, they'll move by more than double that amount. But guess what? You've eliminated the the joker in the pack, which could be earnings going one way or another. So if you want a safer bet with potentially more to make, it's the after earnings one, okay? Because you've got rid of the news now, and that's what this is all about. And it was with JP Morgan. We've had earnings, up it's gone. It's actually crossed the 200-day moving average, which means it's going to be on people's radar as well. And now it's gone sideways. So it's now forming this beautiful move, and leverage is interesting. So the leverage players are interested in this particular stock. But I will only get in if it goes above these highs. Yeah. Only get in. So if it doesn't do it, guess what I've lost? Nothing. And that's one of the key strategies. So at the November event, we make a big thing about this post-earnings. We had surveys with people. We've done several surveys. 7 out of 10 of our traders are making 7 out of 10 win rates with this particular strategy. So it's the one strategy. If you were going to just say, I can only do one strategy forever, which one is it? It's this one. It's amazing. And it's a beautiful strategy. It's very elegant. It's full of logic. And it works beautifully well, and it's very, very popular. I would say that if there's one thing that people come to me for, it's that particular strategy, because there's so much logic involved. You've got big players interested from about 2 or 3 reasons. One, you've had the gap up. 2, you've got the OVI. 3, you've got post earnings, and now you've got this. In this particular case, over the 200-day moving average. There's interest here. Now, if it doesn't happen, guess what? You don't lose. But if it does happen, you're on for some very, very simple, easy wins. But there's one thing I want to say. There's 2 things you've got to have when you trade. One, you've got to have a logical advantage, a palpable edge. If you don't have an edge in what you're doing, forget it. So we do with OVI and all the constructs around that. But the second thing you need is a trading plan. And that trading plan has got to be simple. If it's not, then you're never going to do it. And if you're never going to do it, then you don't have a trading plan. If you don't have a trading plan, you're going to lose. So everything is built around being quick and being simple, and for that to happen, you've got to have simplicity at the core in terms of how you do things, but you've also got to have technology doing all the hard work for you, and that's the framework, and that's the whole engine that is built sort of in here.
So, going back to the workshop at the end of this month, what exactly are they going to get, and what are they going to go away with?
Brilliant. Well, the first thing you get is obviously the workshop itself, where I'm going to teach you 4 specific strategies, all using OVI, and you'll literally walk away with 1, 2, 3 steps to do each one. But most importantly, with all that, you get the software to execute them, all literally in a couple of clicks. So the beautiful thing about that is a teaching strategy. Why are we doing the strategy? What's the logic behind it? What's the advantage? What are the steps you take to make the strategy? It's literally very simple, 1, 2, 3. What are the settings that you want to use? Again, a simple click on a mobile device to do it, but still, just want to know what they are. And then what does the software look like? So again, I'll show you how to use the software. But again, it's literally a couple of steps. It's very, very simple. So you're getting all that. So when you walk away from that seminar, you've got all the tools that you need to execute. But as well as that, I've got this new automated stuff coming out as well. That's all spawned from what we've been doing with the professionals. You get your own private website as well to go where all these tools will be in our private OVI workshop website as well. So you get your own particular little area to go to. You will get a 1-to-1 either with me in the weeks after the event, either with me or one of my top trading coaches, which is a really valuable thing to do, because they'll put into place for you what is a trading routine. This is one of the big things. So one of the things that distinguishes whether you're going to be successful or not is how well you implement a routine. And this is, by the way, a laminate that you'll get. You also get the digital version of it. I'll show you what you also get. But what it shows you is what are the steps you go through to just determine what you're going to do. You have to do it. It only has to take 5 minutes, but you still have to do it. It makes sense. So we show you those. But what we do is, because you're an individual, no one's walked a foot in your shoes, let alone the millions of miles you've walked and what your personal circumstances are, we will tailor our method to your life and how you can fit it into your life, your appetite for risk, your biggest fears, but also your biggest strengths as well.
So on the 1-to-1, you'll basically tailor it there and then.
That's right. It'll be like a go-to meeting kind of thing. But what it does is it personalizes the entire system to you, and it's very simple. But again, no one's walked those steps in your shoes. So we do that. So if you have a time constraint, we say, well, okay, look, we're still going to do these steps, but let's look at how we're going to do them. Okay, some people are going to want to choose the more adventurous strategies, and some people just want the really, really safe, simple ones. And again, we just tailor that to you, because I can do all of those. With all this is really cool as well. On the other side of this laminate, I love laminates, by the way. Do you love laminates? I've got a thing for laminates. I can put coffee cups on them and all sorts. But here is what we have, the AAA trading plan cheat sheet. These are the steps you go through for every trade. Have you done them? Now again, they take seconds to do, but it's just a good way of saying, did I do what I was supposed to do? Because so many people don't. You know that, Graham, in your stuff. So many people just take shortcuts. Well, we've made it a shortcut enough. Don't take more. Now, the first part is here are the steps I've got to do, and they're very, very simple. But then on every trade, you say, did I actually do them? So that's your journal. So you have your plan, this is what I'm going to do, and your journal, did I do it? And then you can test yourself and make sure you did. So that's very, very cool. And this is like a blueprint, because this is what we're all about. So the whole thing is all about, well, training. How do you train? Well, there's certain ways of training, through webinars, through seminars, books, etc. that we provide. Then what are we training you in? We're training you in how to execute a specific trading plan. This is the 5 T's, by the way. A specific trading plan that we have for each and every trade. So you don't have to learn lots of different things. You learn one thing and then you apply it for different strategies. It's very, very elegant. Then what is that training plan going to be executing? Well, strategies or tactics. That's the tactics I teach you on the day. So we have, one's just what I call a bread and butter strategy for OVI. One is post-earnings. That's the one I think you should do no matter what's going on. Then there's pre-earnings for people who are a tiny bit more adventurous. I'll show you how to do that. And then there's one called reversals as well. Now, what makes it all easier for you to do? Tools, mobile optimized tools in a couple of clicks, or even less than a click if you're doing the automated stuff. And then what's the other thing that makes all this happen for you? A little bit of practice makes perfect, or perfect practice makes perfect, or time. A little bit of time. And so this is a really important laminate that you can have digitally and that way as well. What I also give you though on the day, along with everything, is this earnings calendar. Obviously this will be for 2020. So you know exactly not only when earnings are happening, which is in yellow, but when our specific earnings strategies come alive. So you always know. And actually this thing is going to be made into software electronically, so you can click on a day and know exactly who's reporting earnings on the day. Very, very cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff. And then on the other side, this is our options one, but you have a stocks strategy sort of template here as well. So again, you get physical stuff as well. But the main thing is you're getting very elegant, simple strategies for yourself to do, plus the software to do them as well, in literally a couple of clicks, and all from literally a mobile device as well. So it's really a game changer in so many ways. I've literally solved my own problem of time, which happens to be what your problem would be as well. So now I can get things done much more quickly than before. And therefore, by doing that, I don't feel I'm obligated to make bad trades just in order to compensate my time for finding them. And it's a big win. Goodbye, Mr. Bond. Every office should have one of these. Okay, come on, squirrels! Squirrels!